Much obliged to have you join us as always on the program Politics Today, and it's reaching you live on the ITV network. Of course, you can also follow the program live on independent radio. That makes it a simulcast. Our conversations today on the program begins from Rivers State, where there is a political turmoil with the incumbent governor taking on his godfather, so to say. That's the person of Nyesom Wike, who is the minister of the Federal Capital Territory. A lot of issues have been on the front burner in the last couple of days since the issue broke out, or the crisis broke out. When will it end? Nobody knows. But as is always the case, the grasses are already suffering. And one of the major casualties of the fight between former Governor Wike and his successor, Siminalayi Fubara, is the State House of Assembly that has completely gone under on the grounds that there are plans to renovate, reconstruct it as it doesn't meet expectation. What has changed that? We've also seen in the last couple of days 27 members of the House of Assembly defecting from the ruling PDP to the APC. We've also seen in the last couple of days a situation where, interestingly, just 4 members are now presiding over the House. In fact, the 2024 budget was presented before them, and a legal luminary has said that since the court has made a pronouncement on that, it is valid. Well, an example was set in Edo State, and by the way, but that's just the highlights of what to expect on the show today. And the icing on the cake will be on the road to Edo 2024 governorship elections, expectations from party primaries. A lot is already happening in the build up to that election coming up next year. We'll be looking at that as well. But let's quickly meet our panelists for now. I'd like to thank very especially Idris Ezeko. Oh, sorry. Idris Zakari. Comrade Harrison Ezeko was one of the guests expecting. Some of these things happened. Idris, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much. It's always an absolute delight to share my thoughts here. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Edo State.
Let me also welcome Comrade Collins Osaga. Comrade, many thanks for joining us.
Sonny Du, good morning. It's nice to be with you.
Thank you. Okay, let's start off from Rivers State. I mean, isn't it too early that the country is awash with all the stories, both for and against, as it relates to the crisis that has engulfed Rivers State less than 6 months, or within 6 months, since a new government came into place?
We can say it's too early, but in politics, nothing is actually too early. It's better to fight now and rest later than to rest now and fight later. So it is not new. It is not strange that what is happening now is happening. There are historical perspectives to it. It has happened before, and chances are that it's going to happen again if the dramatists personnel do not fundamentally alter the way they go about politics. I have said here before, and I want to reiterate for the sake of emphasis, that a governor who has done 8 years, if you think that you can produce, Godfather is supposed to have a godson, Abi. You can Godfather somebody to become governor, and that person will be absolutely loyal to you for the length of time that person will be governor. You are high on what they call colos, because it has never worked and it will not work. You must have read or heard of the story in Gombe, Danjuma Goje and his godsons. You must have heard the story in Enugu, Sullivan Chime and his godfather. Here in Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshomole and his godson, Godwin Obaseki. And several other. You must have heard of the case of Governor Ambode of Lagos. That you have helped a man to be governor is not sufficient reason for the man to be loyal to you. Now, what is the alternative? As a man who is in office, you must make up your mind that when you are leaving office, you must create a level playing field for everybody who aspires to be governor in your party to win or to contest the party ticket. The behavior, the godlike behavior that as a governor you must determine who takes over from you is anti-democratic, and it is not known to any of our laws. So asking if it is too early it is expected. It is not a strange occurrence. It's expected, but the frustration is that at the end of the day, it is only the grass that suffers.
Collins, I've heard people say that these things happen repeatedly. I mean, history has a way of repeating itself, but it looks like our politicians don't learn from things of this nature. Political godfather wanting to install his political godson. Let me just quote Comrade Idris Zekari, as it were. But is this more of a problem of ingratitude of the political godson, or is more of a problem of an overbearing godfather, as it were?
Thank you very much. Using the issue of Sim and Wike as a case study, I do not think it will be an act of overbearing. Why have I said so? Wike is known by all. Even we from far, we know the nature and the kind of person Wike ordinarily is. Sim was his Akatan General for 8 years. I haven't worked with this man for good 8 years. You know him better. Whatever the agreement that they have reached, really we don't know. But having been with him for those years, you should know that it's something you can cope with or something you can't cope with. An act like this, to me, is an act of ingratitude. And no matter what it is, there are not situations that cannot be managed. More especially when it's already been postulated that in the next few months, you know, even before the inauguration, there were already a signal of issue coming up, that the governor was already trying to play that smart attitude that I am in charge now, or I'm about to be in charge. But somehow they played it in a way that they had to quickly manage it. Because even if they had a case in court, during the period they were even in court, probably because Wike and his team didn't have an alternative. The candidate from the other party was absolutely not an alternative to discuss with, because he comes from a lineage of an arch enemy, which is Amechi, for example. Otherwise, if it was someone who had come from a liberal clan, I would have tell you there would have been a power play politics, where you would have seen both the tribunal and all will send this man packing, and the other man will come and change the swapping of the politics. Okay. But however, I think even the godfathers sometimes need to learn. You know, it's not all that seems quiet that are the best. In politics, the issues we have over the time had with our leaders, or some of our leaders, is when you are allowed, or when you speak out sometimes, in order to make things work, quote and unquote, you are being tagged to become a future rebel. Not knowing that even as understanding politicians as it were, who can easily say things out so that can be corrected, or you just know my kind of stand, then you know how to manage me. Okay. Probably if we can have seen this man, that he was not the type that was always doing like this, and he just concluded that because he's always doing like this, yes sir, that it will be like that. If it was someone like Collins, and you say, Collins, if you enter, you will do this, or you have only one commission. I say, so it won't work now. You know, I'm from Edosa Senatorial, and it's 7 local government. At least I should get 4 now. We will drag and drag, you will give me 3. At that point, we have settled, we move on. Okay. But when you say, yes, sir, but I'm waiting for you to come and put paper in your hand. So I think they should understand, just like what my friend and brother Zachary have said, there should be a playing field for you to act like a father to all. Okay. Even if you have an interest, and if your interest is not forthcoming, or the person do not have that capacity to do what the people ordinarily will want. Because even in Godfather imposing, in most cases, it becomes too burden on Godfather to place their godsons when that godson had no grant at all. Okay. That is why you see it's very painful to some of them. Surely when they know that you come from a background of 0, you have no capacity, you have no money, you have no influence, you have no political antecedent by winning an election. It's not a joke to win an election in Nigeria. Yeah. Even to win a councillor election, it is not a joke. Sometimes this godfather just want to prove that they have capacity. Even people they need not to kneel down for. Behind the scene, they go kneeling down. But after doing all that for you, you can't just come and want to be a supermaster. That is why we also have different kind of godfathers. Some can manage it, while some will be ready to die with it.
Okay. Within the context of Nigeria, we really haven't seen the so-called godfathers that have been able to manage such a situation to the point that we have this balance or equilibrium that will impact on the people. So is the problem really more with the Godfather, as it were?
I say again, I need to quickly put this in perspective. I do not support act of ingratitude and betrayal. I believe there's a special place in hell reserved for ingrates.
Yeah.
But that said, is it not sufficient now? Can we not sufficiently see that it's time for governors who want to leave office to perish the idea of wanting to produce their successor by force?
At all costs.
Is there not sufficient grounds? Is there not sufficient hypothesis to show that this idea, this model of leadership has not worked, will not work, and will never work? Why is it that even here, we are talking Rivers today. Rivers is the situation today. Here in Edo, we have an election coming. And in the ruling party in the state, some people are already saying only the governor's candidate is free to contest. There is no way this is acceptable. It's anti-democratic. In Rivers, it did it worse. Look at it a little bit. Like I said when I spoke on this issue some time ago, I like to take sides. When there is a quarrel, I don't believe everybody is wrong and everybody is right at the same time. No, there must be a victor and there must be a villain. There must be wrong and there must be right. I have said it here before that I find it extremely difficult to take side on this matter. I find it difficult to support Wike. I find it difficult to support Sim Fubara. Because you, as God's son, that the Godfather has gone the extra mile. Just a case in the hand. There was a gentleman from the House of Rep who wanted to be governor in Rivers.
Yeah.
That man had more police cases than the grain of rice in a bag of rice.
Yes.
Just to discourage him from ever contemplating the idea of being governor. He was thoroughly dealt with. He was reduced to zero, and I can assure you that even as we speak, the man is still dealing with police cases in Rivers. Just because you want to put your own godson, no other person was allowed to contest. Governor Wike, then Governor Wike, now Minister Wike, bought all the forms for all the candidates running for elections in Rivers State. Now, is this not breakfast? Have they not served you cold? No, is it cold or hot? Cold breakfast.
Cold.
Like they said, revenge is best served cold. Now, this should be sufficient wisdom that in a democracy, it is foolish to think you can control a sitting governor. Once a man has become governor, you have lost control because he has the apparatus of power. The only person above him in that state is God. After the God is the governor of the state before you now start trickling down. If you think you are one big man somewhere, it's only a matter of time. We saw it here in Edo. Did you not remember how C of O's of so-called leaders were revoked? It will happen in Rivers. We are getting there. Before they revoke 5 C of O's now of Wike's property, he will rethink his life options. So this is what we are talking about.
Okay.
Now let's talk about God's son. You as a man that people are putting so much to support, why do you think that 3 months down the line, you have the right to discard them? People sold properties, people sold houses, people sold cars. Election in Nigeria, as much as I hate to talk about it, is premised on Naira and Kobo. It is the man who can outspend, outmaneuver, and outdo that wins, not the man who is necessarily popular. And they outmaneuvered and outdo in your state to make you governor, only for you to get there and you begin to turn around and face those people that are not facing you. Your friends, like we had in Edo, those who were your friends that got you to office now become your enemy. And those who were your enemies when you were coming to office are now your friends. That's why I said there's a special place in hell reserved for ingrates. But again, it is time to learn. If you ever find yourself in position of authority, make sure you do not care about who is your successor. Do not care.
Okay.
Just provide the level.
You just triggered my next question. What is it about the attraction of incumbents on who takes over from them? What is the attraction? Why is there so much passion around it? Why can't we just make it open, let the best of the pack emerge? What is the attraction?
One, the very first reason is because of a lot of injustice, either they have meted on people while they were saddled with that responsibility as a governor or as a president. They believe if they exit that office with a very close ally not being there, the tendency of them being witch hunts is there. So they need someone who can help balance it, who would remember the stress they would have gone through for them. By so reason, they will have a soft landing. And two, in many cases, they have stolen so much from the people. And if you find that most persons that usually succeed them are either they are Kata generals, they are commissioner for finances,
or they must, chairman economic team,
or someone who was in budget or economic team who gave them the loophole on how to collect and keep. So they feel that we stay together. So if you take over from me, any attempt to open my yard, you are also part of that file.
Just be careful on that word.
Good.
Yes,
and
yes.
Any attempt to witch hunt me, you are also part of that file. So by so doing at all costs, they will dig into people's more money by the way of either state or the nation treasury. If that one is not enough, the one they must have kept in the underground tank, they will also go there and move some to support, knowing that the masses too are very money conscious and desperate when election time comes. They must tell you to go and pack out money from wherever they are. If you don't have, go and borrow more. That is why many a time, few months to elections, you see an outgoing government continually to borrow and borrow in order to install who they so desire. But can we continue like that? No. Just one day things will change. Just as it's changing now. And we like to always make reference to the presidency. Today we have a president that was not imposed or that was not blessed by the outgoing. A president that do not have a godfather or a sponsor.
Because he's a godfather.
Good. Because he himself is the chief godfather.
Generalissimo of
godfather.
So that is why we are praying for him not to fail. We who stood or supported him.
Okay.
Because if he fails, we will not point to any minister, but directly point to him. Because he's a godfather that nobody controlled.
Okay.
So you must not tell us, or we must not say, there was once a cabal, or a cabal did not allow this person to succeed. Okay. So he must perform at all costs, in as much as I pray for him every day. Okay. But going forward,
yes,
is a simple thing to do. Governors, take it or leave it, even in church. A presiding bishop, when he's leaving, or is about to transcend to heaven, he will check among his team, the disciples in church. He knows some are very conscious about Thanksgiving gifts. Some are very conscious about the tithes. Some are very extremely too conscious that he believes he cannot leave the church for them when he leaves. Not that they are not very near, but he will continue to pray. Holy Spirit, direct me on who to take over. And at the same time, we realize that if this one take over, is spiritual, but is very money oriented. This man will sell the remaining property of the church. Then he will look for someone who is not materialistic to him. So that means his interest will begin to come. If he's not careful, he will even not sin against our Father.
Because he wants to protect his
Because
interest.
he wants to protect what God has used him to build over the time.
Okay.
So probably too, that is why you see some of these leaders politically will tell you, I have built structures for years. You see when Wike is crying that his structure cannot be demystified. Why? He started fight with his old friend Amechi for a very long time. He said Amechi sent him or joined to support him to go to Abuja to be minister so that he would completely hijack his structure in river, not knowing that he sent him to an area where we have more blessing. He was still maintaining his structure. So when the fight started, he used that same structure to defeat Amechi. Okay. Now that structure has been on with all the fights they were fighting. Even when Amechi was a super minister, he could not use even the federal might to handle the structure that Wike had.
Okay.
So that is, you can see where his also interest is also coming in. That this man want to finish the structure I have built over the time. And his kind of governor probably is also the type that they call like this in politics. and Wike probably is like this. So when you are like this and you hijack a structure, you continue to do like this, you will be finishing the structure.
Okay, let me
because your hands are.
Let me get Idris to comment on this, because for many people it's like it's an obvious thing. It could just be a rhetorical question to ask, why this seeming attachment to my successor? We see that play out, but in many instances, this really has not ended well. It's always crisis ridden, such a way manner that governance in the state, is at a standstill. Yeah. Yeah. So why this? In spite of the plethora of cases that we have seen, why is there still so much of attachment to this successor on the part of incumbents?
First is corruption. Corruption. When you have taken, like he said, when you have taken so much from the people and your accomplice, the case of Rivers State is very handy. Siminalayi Fubara has a cocktail of EFCC allegations. He was declared wanted and published on a national newspaper. Wike shielded him. Not only did he shield him, kept him in government house. You can't go to government house to arrest anybody. And when Wike was leaving, made him governor, so that in the next 4 to 8 years, EFCC cannot even touch him with a very long stick.
He will enjoy immunity.
He will enjoy immunity. So it's strategic. So, I mean, the corruption allegation, I think, is around the region of about 400 and something billion naira. So that is number one, corruption. To protect yourself and to protect those who helped you when you were in government. I have not said anybody is corrupt. I am not Nigerian court. I am not EFCC. But I am saying what is in the news, well reported by even credible stations like the one we are speaking in. Number two is man playing God. Man playing God. No man is indeed God. But some men, power. They say power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. When these governors who act very responsibly take over as governors and they emasculate the State House of Assembly and put it in their back pocket, like it's happened in Edo, like it's happening in Rivers, like it has happened elsewhere. In Edo, it's 10 persons. I said it here before. The budget of Rivers is almost 860 billion. Edo is 360 billion. If Edo with 360 billion budget can run a State Assembly with 10 members for 4 years, and even did not fall. Rivers with 860 billion will run their State Assembly with 4 members for till Jesus come, if the Constitution permits, with that kind of budget. Now, that's corruption is one. Second, man playing God. It is becoming clearer and clearer now to Wike, and as time goes on, it becomes clearer and clearer. I've told both in private conversation and public conversation that Wike will not win this fight. I did not say cannot or should not. Will not. I am emphatic.
Why are you so sure about that?
I am sure about it because a governor has absolute power. Unless the governor is a moron. A governor with his right senses knows exactly what to do to win any battle. When there was a big fight here in our state between Governor Obaseki and Comrade Oshomole, Oshomole was one of the most popular Nigerians. At the end of that fight, Oshomole was no longer as popular as he used to be. That is the power of a governor. They control the narrative, they control the apparatchik of state, they control the money, they control most of the media, not like our own here, our own is special. They control most of the media and they control everything. They can buy anybody. They control the legislator.
Okay.
Your brother who is a member of the State House of Assembly, who has never seen 100 million in his life, they say come to the governor's side and take 200 million. He will deny you his own brother. That is the country we live in.
Okay, let's quickly look at the aspect of finding a lasting solution, if that will ever happen. I heard that Sim is still in court as it relates to his election. That seems to be hanging in the balance. With all of the things that don't seem to be perfect with him now, is this fight worth it?
It's not worth it. One, it's too early for him to be known to be this. The truth is that he is going to end up spending the gain he would have made in buying some few elements. Who will take advantage of this? Just like what happened in Edo. Some people will go and tell the governor, I'm on my way to Edo North, I want to go and rock somebody there. We need more money. It's not me that said the governor, I think it was one child that said it, that some people were making money out of quarrel. that they keep giving them money, then you face the court. You start spending on the court, on the legal issues on one hand. And trust me, Nigerian court has never been a friend to the people. And I still not see them being friend to the people in the next 100 years. Because why? Today, we have 14 members that were locked out as a matter of urgent importance issues to be discussed. Over 5 judges were passing the document to each other. You pass it back, killing time, and at the end, the 14 members of Edo State House of Assembly were not sworn in. Did not even allow them to enter the chamber. A governor just took that decision. A governor was supposed to manage his own section of the government. Jumped out from the executive, went completely into the judiciary, put granite on the road, blocked it, you will not come, and pursuing them from all corners. And as I'm still talking to you now, the court did not look into that matter and say, oh, now the governor is even about leaving. Those people tenure have even ended.
How does this relate to the
interest? Yes, it's relating now because impunity has taken over the whole system. Ordinarily, in a simple issues like this, you run to the court. Just like Sim have run to the court. Whether it's correct or not correct. Why can't the court just use 1 month? Or even 3 weeks? To take it as an issue of urgency. And give judgment. And say yes, no, yes, no. But if it is to be nominating some persons to become senior advocate, judges of different courts, they can pass the day quickly and they'll be pressurizing the executive to quickly approve. We cannot continue like this. Okay. The hope of every Nigerian, take it or leave it, even the executive, the legislature, hang in the hand of the judiciary. The judiciary are the more powerful people. That is why the constitution did not allow them to rigmarole around money, ordinarily. Not because they cannot also make money. Yeah. But they try to make them very responsive. They try to make sure people who are in that section of the bench, somebody can go and read business administration, what have you. But to be a medical doctor, to be a lawyer, to be an engineer, there are some departments that need people to calm their nerves, think, rethink before dispatching. Okay. So that is why the judiciary ordinarily need to overhaul themselves, look into their civic responsibility. Okay. They are supposed to be our God in politics. Okay. But sadly, they are worse than even the politicians.
All right. Any end in sight on this Fubara-Wike crisis or Wike-Fubara crisis? Because in Port Harcourt, we hear that some of the loyalists on the part of Wike are saying, we're waiting for him at the Supreme Court. We're now at the center. And then, interestingly, we have seen majority of Wike supporters, particularly beginning with the House of Assembly, moving from the PDP to the APC. Even though Wike has not officially declared his membership for the APC. We've also seen some highly placed individuals, the Attorney General and another commissioner, resigning. And then Fubara gave a deadline of yesterday for all Wike supporters and loyalists who cannot continue with this government to quickly ease themselves out, otherwise they will be sacked. So does that show somebody who probably wants to resolve or end this crisis in peace? We heard different individuals, stakeholders, other statements, they've been intervening one way or the other to resolve the issue, but it doesn't look like it's ebbing out yet. It's escalating, as it were.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to escalate further because the issues are seemingly intractable. The major bone of contention, as we know, is that whereas Wike have said, my structure that brought you to office as governor, I will not allow you to dismantle it. I will not allow you to destroy that structure. Siminalayi Fubara now believes that if that structure is not dismantled, the structure will dismantle him. So you see that it's a case of, I am hungry, you are hungry, and we only have one plate of food. One has to eat and the other must go hungry. It will take extreme caution for them, don't forget that the president has called these two gentlemen and tried to resolve the issue. So any matter that the president is not able to resolve as the #1 citizen in the country, it means we will leave it for God. So their matter, we are going to leave it for God. They have to caution themselves. My quarrel, I don't even bother. I'm not too concerned about the politics of it and their quarrel. They should go for confession. Let them go for confession and settle their matter. The common man. This crisis will go on and on and on and on, and the people will suffer. In Edo State, you will remember that there was so much crisis in the first tenure of our governor that the only thing he needed to tell the people was that Godfathers did not allow him to work. And he won his second term. It's only this second term now that he is now there's a transformation, a transmutation to being the Godfather, that we now know that Godfather were not the problem in the first term. There was more, maybe Godfather was part of the problem, but Godfathers were not the major or the only problem that refused, that did not allow him to perform the way we expected him to perform.
Right. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today. I'll be back with you in a moment, sir, on ITV Radio Network. Our special focus has been on the crisis that has engulfed Rivers State between the former governor and the incumbent, talking about Sim Fubara and, of course, Federal Minister Governor Wike. We'll take a short break. We'll take a couple of promos. We'll be back in a moment where we'll be looking at Edo 2024 and the expectations from party primaries. It's before February next year. This is more or less like our countdown to Edo 2024 governorship election on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. Of course, every week we'll be looking at some of the issues that are dominating the front burner. Stay with us on the program. We'll be back with you in a moment. Yes, of course, you can join us every Monday at 5:30, Wednesday at 6:30, and then on Friday at 6:30 for the program Road to Edo 2024, our special package program to showcase all the aspirants who are interested in their quest to govern Edo State. We're talking about serious aspirants. It's not billboard aspirants. Very soon, you're going to see who the real aspirants are when parties are giving out their nomination fee. I understand one of the political parties' nomination fee is 35 million. We don't know what the others are going to charge. That really will separate the boys from the men, and they will really know who the real contenders are as far as the 2024 governorship election is concerned. Gentlemen, thanks again for coming. Idris and Collins, let me start with you. I know some thoughts you wanted to just share before we took that break, which is very important. But in addition to sharing those thoughts, look at the issue of party primaries. Plenty aspirants, plenty political, but maybe just few political parties. What is your take on, in terms of expectations from the political parties managing such situation? Because for most elections, this is actually where the crisis starts, post-party primaries. Those who feel disgruntled, whether realign or work within to destroy the party. These things happening. Are you seeing that happening in 2024?
Well, to conclude my thought on the last question, I think Wike and his godson should repent and settle their differences in the interest of the average Rivers man. In answering this, your question, I think one thing that we cannot deny is that Edo State is a politically enlightened state. The political consciousness in the Edo State is very high. Even the average man in the streets understands the dynamics of politics. That's why you have so many people who want to run. But in those people who want to run, there are the serious, like you have said, and the unserious. There are those who are testing the waters. There are those who, like I said in one of my videos, don't even know where Iyekurion is, but they want to be governor. Everybody is welcome. This is where parties make a lot of money. The political parties, when they start selling from now, they'll start cashing out. They'll start bringing in a lot of money into their coffers. So it's a welcome development. Let's have as many persons as possible. But what I want to advise is it's time, everything is politics. Even the most immoral things these days, they say is politics. Those who know they are standing in for anybody in any political party should immediately begin to rethink their options. This election, look, there's a way we will run this election. Whichever party wins, Edo people win. Whichever party wins. And I've suggested this in time past. The party primary should be so much so, we should de-emphasize money so much that the best man comes from every party. If in party A you have the best man, party B you have the best man, party C and party D you have the best men from there, whichever person wins among this lot becomes, look, a candidate or a governor for all Edo people. But in a situation where the way the party is structured, the way our political parties are structured, they are structured to throw up the worst among them. And the worst are the ones who bring money. Now look at the money you just mentioned. One political party, 35 million. Which job will you do in today's Nigeria that will give you that kind of savings in your bank account? Which job? Which business will you do in today's Nigeria that will give you that kind of savings in your bank account? If you are not into fraud, drugs, or other nefarious activity. It then means that the kind of politics we are promoting is the politics that will bring the worst among us.
Does that mean you don't have people who are doing genuine businesses that can give them such kind of money?
What is the minimum wage of Nigeria? 30,000. What is the maximum wage of Nigeria? About 3.5 million. That's the president's salary. The president receives 3.5 million. So it then means if you are in government service, you are completely out of the race already. Now let's go to private service. Which private business will you do? Don't forget that 35 million is just bulk money. You have been spending before. You have been servicing. This is the time that party delegates marry new wives, build new houses, and do some other funny, interesting things. It's true. This is the time. This is the time they sleep in the poshest hotel in town. And they are preparing for it. I'm serious. They are preparing for it, and in the coming days, you will see it. Benin City will be flooded. You will see all the hotels will be fully booked. Now, where are you getting this money from? If we put money in the front like this, how can we genuinely, I'm speaking to party delegates, how can we genuinely have somebody who has the interest of the people at heart? Let me say, somebody, I've heard it before, somebody say, I bought the governorship. I bought the governorship. A man who can hit his hand on his chest and say, I bought the governorship. How will you come and tell such a man that he has to account to you? No, that's why you now have legacy PDP and main PDP, because it was buying and selling. Okay. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with other political parties. It's the same thing with other political parties. Now, a man will say, I do not give money and give power. Now you are eating like kings, marrying new wives, expanding your farms, changing the roof of your house. When the man becomes governor, you can no longer tell him what to do because he has already paid and he has paid in full.
All right, Collins, we've seen instances, because this is talking to the party leadership. Right now, they are the first kingmakers before eventually we go to the electorates when candidates emerge. In the past, we saw an instance where a governorship aspirant, after the primaries, went using security agents to hound those who collected money from him
to retrieve
some of the resources that he spent during his primaries. But we have a culture of impunity where we don't really learn from the past. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, certainly the candidates or the one-time aspirant that did all of that, I can bet you would have also been regretting. But sometimes you don't just blame them. There are some ways some party leaders behave, some party member behaves. You can't imagine that. You will even ask yourself, does blood rolls in this person's vein? Somebody will just meet you now and say, I am going to do everything for you. I'm going all around for you. Just give me 50 million, 40 million. I'm going to this end to do this. You will turn back around, right to your face. The person will be telling somebody close to you to vote for the next person. No, I'm experienced. Give this one. So it's such a thing. I'm telling you, these are physical and probable things that happen. If you can't work for A, you don't need to suffocate A. Just let him know, I'm sorry, I already have an interest on someone. Or I do not feel I can key into you. Okay. But if the person who consulted you and believe in that which you have just exhibited, and now say, okay, even at that, I can't see you and just go like that. I appease your mind, I appease yourself, with this. So that even when they are pursuing me, though you are not supporting me, don't join them to pursue me.
Okay.
Understandable. But you see, when party faithfuls now make it very monetary, you are weakening the system. And the system will continue to produce those who will continue to either go and borrow money, sell properties, go to lot of MOUs just to raise money for party primaries. That is not the main election. And the funny thing these days, when election comes, you will see party faithfuls pulling out and not supporting the candidates. They tell them, not you want to be candidate, it is your load. In the time past, people come together, you solidarize, you act in unity, you act like our own. You make contributions, and genuinely, there is no antipathy the way it has become in the recent time. You see them go all out. And when the people or the person finally gets to power, most times he thinks back. He remembers the fundraising, how it all went, how this, how the party faithful show commitment, how some were even, it excites the person sometimes. But when you have suffocated that same person, and he now wins by one chance, and you are now coming to say we make you or we made you, yes, he agreed, you did some open support. But that open support wasn't for free. He himself can take calculator behind and calculate what only you took. He will tell you that for the next 15 years, you are not supposed to be hungry based on what you took from him. And for that reason, he need to pacify maybe some other quarter that were not money conscious.
Okay.
It's two ways. That is why sometimes you see that you say, oh, this person now should have capacity to serve in that government. How come they did give it? Yes, probably he was a spokesperson. During the time he was a spokesperson to that candidate or to the person as at that time or to the campaign structure, his demands were so high, he was collecting to appear on TV or appear on radio before they send him to go and speak for the party. Maybe he has taken like 4 or 5 million to appear. And do you think, no matter even if you from here speak the language that everybody have listened, at the point where that money was releasing, they had the database of what you were collecting. So if you say, oh, this person is supposed to be minister for information, he's supposed to be minister for commissioner for information, you are just saying your own. The person who was paying the price know what have left him or her. So I think party faithful must play low so that those persons that truly have the genuine feelings to take the state or the country to that level we can envisage can come. Because those people do not have too many Ghana must go. And that is why some people will tell you, that one, no, I not go support her, you know they give person money. Somebody have hustled money to contest an election, for example. He lost. You are still expecting the person to come back and start sharing money again from where now?
Okay.
So I think we should grow beyond
that level.
This level of pressurizing people with money. And now too for a party saying 35 million, even 100 million. Let me tell you, this is a party system. Sometimes the party knows some persons who ordinarily have capacity to run. But you now find out that many persons who ordinarily, for whether by way of academics, by way of records, by way of self-organization, they are not even fit, by way of even the money they don't even have, they will all pack into the race. They will come and flood the whole thing and make it rowdy and make it child's play. Sometimes party try to sanitize.
So that's why you have such
yes, now let me come in.
No,
I know, I'm almost finishing there.
Yes.
In sanitizing it, the party themselves leaders have a way of also gathering themselves around and donating money to some persons they felt have capacity to purchase the form.
Fantastic. Interesting. If you just join us, it's still politics today on independent television and radio network. We will open our studio line so you can call and be part of the conversation. As always, be as civil as possible. Be short in your conversation or be brief in your conversation or contributions, because so many other people are waiting to take their turns. And please, let's focus on the issues. Let's focus on the issues so that we can make a very comprehensive sense of our conversation. But let me come back to Idris. What are your expectations in the final analysis in terms of the outcomes of the primaries? allegations of some individuals buying up structures, influencing party leadership is beginning to bubble, across political divide. What's your take?
I would like to speak specifically now to political parties. For example, the PDP. I think that Mr. Governor should perish the thought of wanting to produce his successor by force. Let's give a level playing field to everybody. You have seen the effect of Godfatherism both at home and elsewhere. You yourself that said you fought Godfathers should not metamorphose into a Godfather. That is one. For the APC, we have so many candidates coming from there. They have a lot of house cleaning to do, a lot of housekeeping to do, and they should start it now. The arrogance that one federal might will come and make you governor in this state, I have said it before, will not work. There is no federal might that is going to produce governor in this state. The next governor in this state will be voted by Edo people for Edo people. So anybody who is still in that, living in that illusion that a certain federal might will come and make anybody governor here should perish that thought. For the party that I was sympathetic to in the last election, the Labour Party, let me say that we must watch it. People are gradually losing trust for the party. This is not Obi's election. This is a state governorship election. And in a state election, only those who are from the state will determine who will be the governor. So those who are in Labour thinking that a certain Obi will come from somewhere to come and campaign, and by so doing we will win election without anything, perish that thought. Rethink your options. So in the final analysis, for the smaller political parties, for the much smaller political parties, Edo is so unique that anybody can win elections in this state. Edo is that unique. Anybody can win elections in Edo state. A small party that is formed yesterday can win election in this state. All we need is the right candidate. So this is a warning to the so-called big parties.
Okay.
If you produce the worst among you, we will produce a masses candidate. And no federal might or state might. We have two mights now.
All right.
The federal might supporting one party, the state might supporting another party.
Yes.
No federal might or state might will win any election.
Let's open our studio line, and so you can be part of the discussion. I know that watching the discussion so far, you've been having some thoughts and views and perspectives that you want to bring on board. Let us know what those views are. Dial the number. Studio number right now, right away. You have that number on the screen shortly, so you'll be able to participate on the program. Hello, caller. Good morning. We know you're there already. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I greet you, John. I greet you. What is there is that I so much appreciate the guest speaker that spoke last. And there's also one thing that we should know with the masses. Because when you take money from any what candidate, and at the time that he won the election,
what happened? We lost that call.
So what they did from
the line is breaking. Our studio number is 080-7777-0300. That's the studio number, 080-7777-0300. What's your name, caller? Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
What I will balance is, as in, we don't want federal might. We don't want state might. Might.
We want the people's might, right?
The people's might. Elections we saw, as far as, are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
As far as this local government election, the last election they did in the local government, what happened? And we saw 18 over 18. So why not saying, no, we don't want federal might, we don't want state might? You didn't say something about that. That, no, we will vote the local government chairman on our own choice. Did anything like that happen?
No.
Because this thing is not being fair.
Okay.
Let's tell ourselves the truth.
Thank you.
Fairness. But you are not doing fairness in your own state.
Okay. That's a common practice in Nigeria with local government elections.
Local election is a result writing. I said it here. Local government election is result writing exercise.
Okay, thank you, caller. 08077770300. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? We lost that call.
It's your regular caller, Solomon Ataga.
Okay, Solomon Ataga. Good to have you on the program. Go ahead.
Bless you for this program.
Okay.
At the last analyst, I pray for more wisdom, the grace to stand.
Amen.
The politicians that Edo is a state the Nigeria is looking onto. We are not looking for big wins. All we are looking for is sincerity. Who know the pains of the people, the problem of the state. Hello, are you with me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead. We're listening to you.
So those are the kind of are looking. Even that Abuja will be going to vote as a governor, I say sorry. Telling you sorry.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
The issue of River,
yes.
And the minister should know that all these things, the home is not easy. Home you have built for so long should not just be distressed because of sitting in Abuja there. All these it goes to the common ones in the street. They feel the pain and all that. When he was a governor, he refused the aeroplane not to land because he said he had the audacity. But my take in analysis there is all these governors have all these abilities, the capability to say what happened. Why are they not refusing to do the major things? Why the federal refuse? And it's the federal control. When it comes to election, we now know that they have the power to say what happened and what not happened. Why are they not using that effort to do the effect of the masses? But my advice to his minister, sir, these days and tomorrow, to God who made me. Those people will betray me tomorrow. Thank you, caller.
So we can conclude this segment of the program. Many thanks to all our callers and good morning. What's your name and where you calling from? Good morning. What's your name? Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Live on Politics Today. Good morning. What's your name, caller? Our last caller for today. Yes, go ahead, please.
Ibrahim. But let me
just go ahead.
Doing same thing and expect. We can't be doing something and expect different results. To change the structure. People buying forms, all those things should be prohibited and forbidden. The party itself should have a system where the members, the ones that will do selection, candidates that will be thrown in for election. Get as much as possible members. This member should have a register. Probably should be all votes. In who will influence who. 20 candidates per party, for instance, per slot. Those members are large. The register is big. Come together and vote. The party should have a mechanism of getting funding, internal funding. Those funds should be ready. The candidates, some percentage of those funds should be ready to be given to each candidate. Okay. They should be allowed to spend any money.
All right, thank you, caller. Very last caller for the program today. Well, let me get a final word from Collins here.
Thank you very much. Just as Edo 2024 is coming and very close, we hope and pray that all of the aspirants should understand that this is politics. Okay. And we have had many persons who have tried many times before they finally get it. So you must not say it's do or die, so that the citizens can live in peace. Okay. And I think it is also onus on the governor not to start to create muzzle. Because at this election, if you say opposition cannot breathe in the state, I can bet you other capacity will override, the state power.
Final word.
In the final analysis, I want to beg the Godfather and Godson of Rivers to rethink their options. I also want to beg upcoming Godfathers in Edo State to rethink their options. And for the political parties, if you eat today, I promise you, so help me God, there will be nothing to eat tomorrow. Create room for decent people to contest elections in your party, and create room for decent people to occupy position of authority. Like one our caller said, if you are doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, that is the definition of lunatism.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's our package today on the program, politics today on independent television and radio. I mean, politics is such a key part of development. I mean, globally, politics is very, very key in development. So doing it right or getting it right is key to entrenching good governance and actually impacting on the lives of the people. So it's our pleas to the political parties that they should do the needful to ensure that those who emerge in their primaries are those who have the capacity to deliver. As is always the case at this level, it's an all-comers affairs. But the political parties should put their structures in place to ensure they do proper screening, and then they give their candidacy to those who have the capacity to live up to the expectations of the people. Let's make it open. Let's not impose, let's not front individuals on the grounds that they are going to come and help to protect us or cover our tracks. In most cases, it has not worked, it will never work, it's not going to work. And the earlier we learn it, the better for all of us. That's my takeout on the show today. I want to say big thanks to everyone that made it a huge success. Have a great weekend.